All right, guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. I appreciate everybody being patiently waiting in the waiting room there. We were getting a couple of the kinks ironed out here for the live show. So this is the first one, if you guys did not realize that. Uh, I'm going to get the chat overlay turned on here, guys. So appreciate you guys bearing with me. Like I said, this is the first live of hopefully what will be eventually more lives on LinkedIn. And so thank you for everybody that has been part of my network here on LinkedIn. I started building this network about 2 years ago. I had a few connections prior to the pandemic, but this network really started going kind of crazy during the pandemic. At some point, I decided that it was just going to be time and we were just going to go, and there was going to be no looking back on what we did. I started adding people that were in the IT industry. I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana, so I was looking for people that were local to me here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So any advice or anything that I was seeing out in the world, I was trying to share that stuff with my network and just trying to basically starting to build off people that I thought, we could have some kind of a mutually beneficial relationship. And so if you're in my network and you're wondering, one, who am I and how did you get to know me? That's why, partially. Um, some people have been added to the network at random, so I apologize for you if you are one of those people that somehow has gotten in here at random. Some people have started to add themselves, and holistically, my network has started to grow. So I think today my LinkedIn network is somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,800 people or something like that. There's a lot of people in Fort Wayne. There's a lot of people in the greater Indiana area. There's people in Wisconsin, my home state. I got people in Washington. I've got people in California. The network has become very diverse. And like I said, I thank everybody for being in the network because for me, this network has been incredibly helpful for me. Uh, I have worked really hard to try to make sure that everything that I put out on the platform is bringing value to other people. And so I think that that's one of the most important things that I would just start by mentioning here is for those of you that are wondering what is the point of LinkedIn. Okay, a couple of years ago I thought that this platform was the place that you went when you needed another job, right? And so I really only used the platform when I was in between jobs. And one of the things that I think that I would advise you is that is not a good way to use LinkedIn at all. Um, because number one, you're only looking for people for help when you need something. And so this is the first thing that I recommend everybody do on this platform is as you're networking with other people, try to find things that bring value to those other people, okay? Do not try to sell them on something. I mean, I kind of probably made this mistake on a few people, maybe being a little bit over anxious to sell myself because I do think that is important. And I would start doing the groundwork on that now. Even if you think that your job is secure and you think that you're not going anywhere, you never know. Layoffs are happening right now. That's something that we may talk about a little bit later. There's layoffs at Twitter, Facebook, all the big tech companies right now. And what does that actually mean? Because I get asked every day about the IT cybersecurity positions and what it's like for entry level people. And it is an interesting industry. So we'll talk a little bit about that industry, but just first, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. If you don't know, my name is Travis, network engineer. Been doing this for about 20 years now, worked for some of the biggest companies in the country, and we tackle some of their most difficult networking server storage projects, low voltage work primarily. And I like to say, I guess, is if you're a big box retailer, you probably are using us through probably a managed service provider. That's our main client would be managed service providers. So large national companies that got contracts. We will go out and actually get the work done on the ground for those companies. And so that's what I do. The company is called M6 Networks. My wife works for me now. My kids have started to do some work for me. And so we've uh, been slowly growing the company throughout the pandemic. So it has been very nice for us because I lost my job at the beginning of the pandemic, as some of you guys may know. And like I said, that's when this network started to get built. And so I just started adding people, and I never really knew exactly what was going to become of it. I had recruiters pinging me. I had different people that I used to work with that I was connecting with, and I guess I kind of thought to some extent it's like Facebook for business. And so I thought, well, maybe I should start writing on this platform. Maybe I should start doing something that other people will want to read and do something that has some value. And so, kind of interestingly, and I'll just share this here with you, kind of cool little thing. The metrics on LinkedIn that you see, some people don't understand exactly what they mean or why they matter. But what I can show you from this example here, and the post, this went down a little bit, but on a 7-day basis, 5,100 people are seeing the content that I put out, and they're higher level people, they're C-level owners, managers, things like that. And although I certainly think that people don't always agree with everything I say, I don't expect that you do. I just try to bring a perspective. And so, here we're talking a little bit about electric cars. And so try to stay away from necessarily things too political, except for this guy. This is like my favorite guy right there. Um, but we do also talk about something else. For those of you guys that don't know, I'm a felon, and I have used my network now to try to advance some of those causes. So, um, reentry, second chance employment, trying to change the narrative around people that have criminal convictions being able to get employment. And interestingly, I was actually just reading an article about this here about the formerly incarcerated people. Um, 2 out of 3 employers actually have hired somebody with a criminal record, but the ability for somebody to actually get a job and actually get in the door is really hard. So some employers have made a concerted effort to try to um, focus in on this, but one of the guys in here says it really well. A regular person applies for 10 jobs and they get, out of those, they might get a bunch of applications. But if you have a record, you fill out 100 and you don't even get a call back. There's a number of things, just related to that particular thing that I do want to bring attention to, so I will use my network for that. Um, but I encourage everybody to get on here, start bringing people in, start adding people that are in your field or that you may want to associate with, because at some point you may want this network. And when you do want the network, you don't want to uh, seem needy. I would say that you want to make sure that, like I said, if you're interacting with people on this platform, I recommend trying to just be positive, trying to congratulate people when they have something positive happen. Chiming in and tagging them. Tagging them is kind of important. So. Um, But when you interact with other people's content and with other people on the platform, it will help you build your own network. When you comment on people's things, like our good friend Chris, if you guys don't know this, Chris is the king of live stream. So don't listen to any advice necessarily I give you on how to get on his program, because he will teach you everything about going live. He is the master. Him and Mr. Anthony Jones. If you don't know him either, get on it. I have um, a great network here. I'll mention a couple other people. Ruben. Ruben is over at My Way Out. This man, if you don't know him, if you're not connected with him, I see 38 of you guys are. So props to you guys, but there's 3,700 more people. You guys go and hook up with this guy and Eli. Hopefully Eli will show up on my list. Luke Mayville. If you guys do not know about Luke Mayville at Thrive, you need to know about Luke. So shout out to you, Luke. If you're out there, you're probably at work right now, but I'll give you a shout out anyways. Let's just take a look. And if your name's on this list, there's Eli. Make sure you get connected with Eli. Harley Blakeman, this guy is killing it at Honest Jobs. You can list your job for free. So Monster ain't got nothing on that. You just have to make sure that you are willing to hire somebody that has been involved with the criminal justice system in the past. We got a bunch of other people on here, and I do not want to not necessarily mention, look at that. This man right here, make sure you add him, Lester Young, Tyler, Ryan, all you guys. There's Anthony. Add these guys. Just go through this list, and if anybody on this, Marissa Banks. Marissa is the bomb. She's probably busy working right now or taking over the entire state of Alaska. However, I just want you to know this woman actually changed the game for me with some LinkedIn tips. So you got to look at her page to find out what those tips are. Travis is the actual LinkedIn master. This guy kind of started it all. If you're looking for a local master of social media, hit up Derek. Derek is also the master, the chief disruptor. Check this guy out. He's the man, okay? You can see a trend here, okay? These people are awesome. Christopher in Washington was in federal custody, now is a lawyer in Washington. He was married by the Supreme Court Justice, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Christopher is a network master helping people out on the West Coast. So make sure you connect with him. Just everybody. I mean, these guys, everybody on this list. Luke, another LinkedIn master, you probably guys know. Every single one of these names, get them. Eva, get them. Get them. All right, guys. I have no shame about who I add to this network, and I will add anybody. I got 3,800, and I'm going to keep steam rolling along. If I see your name on here, I'm hitting connect. You, on the other hand, need to accept the connection unless I try to sell you some stuff, and then you can eat me out of your network. But I highly recommend that you really consider connecting with people on this network, and even if it's somebody that you don't know, because what happens is all of a sudden people become connected to you because they have mutual connections. And Tammy, I don't know you, but we're about to know you on this live. The Greater Pine Island Chamber of Commerce. I got 6 people in my network that are connected with you, okay? And see my golden doodle has decided he wants to join the live too. But Tammy, I'm sure the Pine Island Chamber of Commerce is lucky to have you. You are an asset. And what you're doing, you're networking on LinkedIn. You got 68 connections. You got 69 connections. We're going to connect with you and we're going to grow your network. We're going to blow up the Pine Island Chamber of Commerce. That's going to be the best Chamber of Commerce on LinkedIn. So make sure you bring your dogs to your live, guys. And check this out. One fun fact that I can do with this, we're going to go back to my control, my graphics here, and get control over here. But to do the stream, you need nothing. you need a little bit of experience and you need a little bit of hardware. I'm using a headset microphone, which is super convenient for me because I can live in my own little world here. You need some software for your restreaming. So I'm using Restream, which is cool because I can put people on there. And I got somebody saying hi from the chat. Hello out there, guys. So anyways, if you want to get into doing the live, like I said, I've got some connections for you guys that can help you guys get into this game. It may sound intimidating, but it is definitely not that bad. So the thing is, I'm going to transition here a little bit because I had a couple things that I just wanted to bring up during our little conversation today. And this is basically straight on the line of what we normally talk about. And some of you guys may or may not know, not necessarily the hugest Elon Musk fan. Uh, you know, for better or for worse, I think he does good things, but he also does some interesting things, we'll say, for legal purposes. But Twitter is a complete catastrophe. And I bring up Twitter because this actually, over Thanksgiving, became a little bit of a conversation among some other more controversial topics that we won't talk about on here because we don't want to get banned on the first live. But we talked about TikTok. And some of you also may or may not know I am a huge fan of TikTok. I'll go on the record right now saying that I do believe TikTok is going to change the world. I don't know if I'm going to say that it's going to be for better or for worse exactly, but it all depends exactly on how you use this social media platform. And so the conversation was we should ban TikTok. Well, if we're going to ban TikTok, are we going to ban other social media sites as well? And if we do that, then where does that leave the freedom of speech? So if we have to ban one piece of software because it's owned by Chinese, but we don't care about Facebook because it's publicly traded. So where does the line go on the free speech thing? And that brings me to this, which is I am not a fan of Twitter either. I don't use Twitter. I'm LinkedIn is my favorite platform. I think it's the best. You guys are the best network in the world, and I don't have time for anybody else. I do some TikTok. However, Twitter, it's a cesspool. It's been a cesspool for a long time, and it has very good uses for certain applications. And that's actually what I do want to talk about, which is what's happening in Iran and what happens if Twitter somehow melts down. You know, we can go all the way back to the Arab Spring. Social media has been a tool to enhance the role of democracy across the world. So to say that we should ban social media because of the ownership, who owns the company, I'm not entirely sure that that's right. You could argue that TikTok is dangerous because there's certain things that it exposes children to that they may not be ready for. TikTok allows people from China to collect data on our faces, on our houses. Most people don't know this, but you can actually do a 3D scan from a video now. So having that kind of, I guess we'll call it battlefield intelligence, freely handed over by a potential adversary is not ideal. So I would argue that more than they want to ban TikTok, you know, certain corporations in power or certain people in power, like this guy here, who's got a ton of money, and nobody wants to talk about the fact that Elon Musk is a market manipulator. He market manipulated when he was doing cryptocurrency, which is my first problem with him, is it's a pump and dump scheme, and anybody that was involved in cryptocurrency was getting duped. Okay, so that's the first problem with the whole cryptocurrency thing to begin with. But getting back to the pump and dump, everybody's tweets before they actually go into the market. And when I was trying to buy a PS5 forever, which I still don't have one. I bought an Xbox. Whoop whoop, Microsoft is better. They got product on the streets. But I could not get a PlayStation 5 because Twitter would only tell me when they were available like a day late, which kind of defeats the point of Twitter if the information I'm getting is a day late. Okay. So if we want real-time information, the only real-time people that were getting real-time information was major media outlets, which had major money. And so that's the thing is if you take away all these social medias, if you take away LinkedIn, I can't go live and express my willy-nilly opinion, whether you agree with it or not. That's not necessarily the point, but the ability to have free speech is very important. I think it's something that we should protect because they don't have free speech in Iran. They don't have free speech in a lot of countries. They don't have it in Russia. They don't have it in China. They don't have freedom of the press in those places. And I can come on a Microsoft platform and bash Microsoft, okay? That is American as it comes, okay, guys? That's why maybe they don't share my content as much if they don't like what I have to say, but I'm talking bad things about sharing information about Bill Gates. Potentially, that's something that he wouldn't want to put on the media and he could stop that. So who owns what? And in the media, we're talking about the media. I have a particular company's media up here now. It doesn't really necessarily matter where you go for the media as long as you're getting multiple sources of media. And so I'm always kind of looking at what is the source and what is the bias involved in that particular source. And so, and a less controversial subject, I promised that we would talk about something that was not necessarily related to anything, and that's why can you not tickle yourself? And I'm just going to leave this as a lingering question. I have a viewer on here. Why can you please tell us in the comments, viewer, why can you not tickle yourself? What is the theory? I don't necessarily know. I mean, I've read the article and I may or may not disagree with what they allege in the article. And you're certainly welcome to go and look at the same article. But I want to hear some thoughts in the comment section before we spoil the actual reason as to why you think this is. But um, when we talk about things, fun things, sometimes they don't necessarily have to do with work. And so this is kind of one of those particular things. So anyways, I digress on that. So I want to thank everybody again for coming that joined in the live stream here during the course of the time. I hope that you maybe learned something, I don't know, about live streaming on LinkedIn. Maybe you got some tips and tricks on what not to do. Maybe you were admiring my beautiful art that I have here and wondering where was that photo taken? Well, that photo was taken in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's where I currently live. Like I said, shout out to everybody that lives here. This is a wonderful town. If you do not know anything about Fort Wayne, we'll just Google it up here and I will show you some interesting things about my town that I live in. Is Fort Wayne cheap to live? Yes, it is. It is on the list of cheapest places to live in America. It is 13.7% below the US average. That is cool. We are not a small city, so it feels like a small city, but it is large. We have a large metropolitan area, which has grown very large. We have a couple good school systems here, so there is that. We are largely a Republican area, so there is that, for better and for worse. We have several universities here, including where I'm going right now, which is Purdue. You should definitely go to Purdue. If you don't go to Purdue, you go to Indiana University, but I would go to Purdue. Little come visit it. It's got a lot of stuff going on. There's lots of events during the weekends here, especially during the summer. A lot going on. We have several hospitals, Parkview and Lutheran Hospital. I'm not going to say where to go because I don't want anybody getting upset with me because I got Lutherans and Parkview people on here. So reps to both of them. I like you guys both equally, but I like Parkview's helicopter better. So anyways, I'm gonna just pretty much wrap it up with that. Thank you guys so much for coming to check me out on this live today. We're not gonna be here for an hour. This is gonna be the end of it. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and we will try to do this next live with some guests and at a more regularly scheduled time. So you guys have a great weekend. See you later.